Section 4.4 is where we're going to do a composition of transformations. A composition of transformations is when a transformation is applied to a figure and then another transformation is applied to its image. So you would essentially be doing two transformations. A glide reflection is one type of composition. So a glide reflection is where you do a translation followed by a reflection. Anytime you do a composition of two isometries, it will still be an isometry. And remember, isometry means that you are not changing the shape. It's still going to maintain its shape. So the composition of two or more isometries results in an image that is congruent to its preimage. Example 1, we're going to show you what a glide reflection would look like. So you have a triangle with these vertices. So I went ahead and plotted those guys over here. Trying to get it all in the same picture here. And then we were trying to determine the coordinates of the vertices of the image after you translate along -4, 0 and reflect in the x-axis. So you want to go in the order that it discussed. So I'm going to be going -4, 0. So I went ahead and added -4 to each the x's and added 0 to the y's. So that means that my translation moved it left 4. Now you're going to take this image and reflect it across the x-axis. So remember, the x-axis is this guy here. So I'm taking my new image and reflecting across. So I'm counting to my x-axis and away. Notice what I'm labeling here. I have P double prime because we had done a second transformation. So for Q prime, I counted to my x-axis and away. So that's why it's being labeled as Q double prime to show this is my second transformation on the original point Q. And then last, R prime changes to R double prime across that x-axis. So this is showing you a glide reflection because you were gliding and then reflecting. Pause the video and try the check question. So in the check question, I went ahead and plotted my original points, so J, K, and L. Then it asked me to translate along 0, 4. So that means I was moving it up 4. Then it asked me to reflect across the y-axis. So that would be this line here. This is the y-axis. So I was counting to it and away, to it and away. So the first image had J prime with 1 apostrophe. The second image had J double prime to show I did a second transformation on J. And then I went ahead and I listed out my coordinates, which I forgot to do in example number 1. So J double prime would be -6, 3. L double prime is -5, 1. And then K double prime is -10, 2. Okay, on the next one, we're just going to practice doing some different composition of transformations. So you have a triangle, so that's this guy down here. You're going to graph this guy and its image after a rotation of 180 degrees about the origin, and then we're going to translate it -2, 4. Again, go in the order that it reads in the sentence. So I'm going to rotate first. So that's why I took all of these points over here and I applied my 180-degree rotation formula. So that means that when I had x, y, it's going to change to the opposite of x and the opposite of y. So that's why this became 6, +2, +5, +5, +2, +1. So I applied my rotation, and then I plotted it. So I took this guy, and I plotted it over here. And I meant to take this out here. There we go. So C prime at 2, 1, 5, 5 is where you got B prime, and then 6, 2. Now I'm going to apply my second transformation, which is the translation. So I'm adding -2 to all my x's, and I'm adding 4 to all my y's. So on a graph, that means I'm moving left 2 and up 4 for each of my points. So these would be the coordinates of my new image, and then I also graphed it over here so that you could see what it would look like. So we rotated and then we translated. Pause the video and try the check question. So in the check question, you were doing a line segment. So here was CD. It asked you to reflect across the x-axis first. So I reflected and I wrote down my coordinates. So -7, -1, -3, -2. Then it asked me to rotate 90 degrees. So the formula to rotate 90 degrees says that you're going to flip the x and y coordinate around and do the opposite of that y coordinate in the first position. So I flipped and I changed the sign of that first one. I flipped and I changed the sign of the first one. So then I just plotted it to see what it would look like, and I labeled my points accordingly. So first transformation had 1 apostrophe, second transformation had 2. All right, folks, that's it for composition of transformations, just doing more than one transformation at a time.